Music is in here. The eyes have it.
Our journey has been steady from the advent. With crystal clear vision, we started off as a news online portal. We subsequently evolved into a magazine, and now on your radio. We do not only bear the name Media House. We practice with the best ethos of our professional calling, presenting facts with objectivity. We are committed and resolute. We are HallowMace. We are the standard bearers. It's HallowMace on radio, dedicated to promotion of legislature, democracy, and good governance. It's hot, interactive, educating, engaging, and entertaining. HallowMace on radio, Thursdays, 10 a.m. on Armed Forces Radio, 107.7 FM. HallowMace on radio. Parliament, brought to the people. Brought to the people.
All right, Abuja, good morning to you. Good morning, listener. Good morning, Nigerians. It's a great day to be alive, and of course, it's always a pleasure to have you join us on the program HallowMace on radio. Glad to have you once again on the flip side of the radio. My name is Daniel Odi. This is HallowMace on radio, your political talk show. We come here every Thursday and we look at critical burning issues of national interest. We try to analyze, dissect, and profile solutions. We make recommendations to government and policy makers, decision makers that will shape the future of our country for a better and progressive Nigeria. And that is the essence of HallowMace on radio. It's a program that promotes good governance, deepen democratic value, making sure that every policy of government will reflect the interests of the ordinary man on the streets. So, welcome again. It's a Thursday. Here we are. We have a topic that will definitely be very, very interactive. That will be very, very engaging, because we would love to make it audience participatory, because it's an issue that cut across every facet of human endeavor. When I say it cut across every facet of human endeavor, it means wherever space you find yourself, be it a businessman, be it a politician, be it anyone, as long as you are in this country, you all will have this topic. You'll find it very, very interactive and interesting. Well, many business owners and residents of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT Abuja, have decried the epileptic power supply being experienced in the territory, that is the nation's capital. We're talking about the seat of power now. The residents said the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company, AEDC, was not living up to expectation and urged it to improve its services. So the electricity consumers who spoke to newsmen in Abuja decried the poor power supply to their business premises and homes. So it was gathered that power supply has declined and compared to how it has been in the past. Meanwhile, it will be recalled that AEDC had in recent notice informed customers that the transmission company of Nigeria, TCN, was carrying out maintenance on its 132/1/33 kVA, that is Kukwaba transmission line. So that was the first and initial reason TCN gave consumers was the cause of epileptic or poor power supply. So this morning, we'll be looking at epileptic power supply in Nigeria with the FCT Abuja as a case study, because this is the seat of power. This is where the government of the day is situated. So if the FCT is struggling and grappling with poor power supply, what can we say about other parts of the country? What can we say about Kogi? What can we say about Nasarawa or Kaduna? Probably if you're listening to us from this axis, you may wish to call and let us know how the epileptic power supply or how power supply is in your area. Because this is one sector that has a ripple effect on other sectors of the economy. Once there is power supply, definitely it will enhance or it will boost the economy of other areas. So my name is Daniel Odi once again. I am not alone. We'll be discussing this very interactive, very, very engaging topic with, we're expecting a guest who happens to be Comrade Dominic Alancha. He's a public affairs analyst. So he'll be doing most of the analysis of this epileptic power supply. Also on the show this morning is Mr. Sonny Anderson Osibe, who is the producer and executive producer of this program, HallowMace on radio. So while we expect our guests to join us on the program, let me welcome Mr. Sonny Anderson Osibe, the executive producer of this program. Good morning, Mr. Anderson, and welcome.
Good morning, Daniel.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Abuja. Good morning, Nigeria.
Definitely, Nigerians will be wondering why, at this stage of our democratic journey, we are still grappling with the issue of power supply. Because for you to have, or for you to revamp the economy, for you to allow the economy to spring up, definitely there are areas, there are sectors that need to be up and running. Imagine small-scale business that are grappling with power supply. The purchase of alternative source of energy definitely would affect their business negatively, because it is the end users that will be paying for these services. Just like you and I go to the barbering salon on a weekly basis to have our haircut, or your wives go to the salon, to the spa to get their nails being fixed. If this business, small business, are run on alternative power, they will have to buy diesel, they'll have to buy petrol and other alternative, be it solar. Definitely it will have a negative impact on small scale business and the economy. We understand these are the people that make the economy of a country to have a clear direction. So give us your own assessment of electricity supply in your area. I say in Kubwa, it is very, very funny. It's not funny because coupled with the fact that the weather is becoming so unbearable, we're expecting the rains to come so that the heat will be the heat will not make us to lose our sanity. I say in Kubwa, and power supply has been very, very epileptic. I don't know. Tell us in your area how the power supply has been.
Well, in my area, if you want to know, I live in Karusite.
Okay.
You know, and for me, Karusite is, you can call it Asokoro extension.
Okay.
So if someone like me who lives in Karusite is complaining of
Power supply,
then there's a problem. I have people who live around Asokoro. I have people who live around Metama. The same complaint. You know, but what is important to us is not whether there is light or there is no light. What is important to us is, at least for the operators of this sector, to actually know that they also need to also be up and down at this point in time, because everybody needs electricity and all that. But the most appalling thing in the whole thing is the level of corruption. You know, that's in the practice, because you got to see places in Abuja, you got to see places in Abuja who have not had light for almost 2 weeks, and by the time the bill is coming as the same as when they had light and all that. You begin to wonder, you know, how, you know, they come about their ratings and all that. So for us, I think, well, my utmost concern here is the level of corruption that is perpetrated by the operators of this sector. You know, they should be able. I will try to get the spokesperson of the discos. You know, he said he's already on holiday. That he's going to be with us next week. I also tried to get in touch with the chairman Senate Committee on Power, who is Senator Inaya Baribe. You know, he said he's on holiday too. That he's coming back next week. I also tried to get in touch with the power consultant in the name of all those guys say they are out of Abuja, because we needed them to come to the studio to explain to Nigerians why this practice should be like that. You know, because if you're not giving me light, there's no reason why I should be paying for
services you're not enjoying,
what I did not consume. So that's my challenge. That's where I have a problem with the practice.
All right, these are submissions of Mr. Sonny Anderson on epileptic power supply. Just like I had mentioned earlier, the program today is all about you. So we'll try as much as possible to make it interactive, because power supply is something that we all need. Imagine you after a hard day's job, after going to hustle, going to fend for yourself to pay your bills, coming back at home and there's no light. You need to rest, you need to lay your head and probably get yourself refreshed and recharged for the next day. The hustle continues and all of a sudden there is no light. You start thinking about how to get alternative power, putting on generator the noise alone of that generator set, but even the fuel itself, the cost of it is no longer pocket friendly. Well, before we open up the phone lines to get your own thoughts on how power supply has been in your area, our guest just stepped into the studios. Comrade Dominic Alancha is here, who is a public affairs analyst. Good morning and welcome, sir.
Good morning and thank you for having me.
All right, let's have a clear overview, your own understanding how this problem has persisted over time, despite several administrations, several governments expending so much funds, budget reallocation to this sector, this same sector. If I play a song, we're going to, on a break subsequently in the program, we started this journey of democracy since 1999. Before 1999, we have been grappling with power failure. And Mr. Anderson spoke about the level of corruption. Just give us a clear overview how this problem has crippled or has made the economy very, very slow. What are those issues? Is it that we are missing to put a square peg in a square hole? Or why is it that we keep having this recurring every government that is coming?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think to start with, let me start by saying that we truly have not been able to put a square peg in a square hole. By, having somebody with the competence and capacity as the minister of, power to drive, that sector's development. One of the reasons why we are having the challenges we are having today is the fact that there is infrastructural deficit when it comes to, power infrastructure. And it's unfortunate that today the energy sector, particularly, what we used to know as NEPA, has been privatized. But we still experience all of that. Is it that these people are not investing in it? Or is it that, the infrastructures, as they inherited, they've not been able to improve it and stuff like that? So these are some of the questions I believe are begging for answers, because you cannot have a vibrant economy without having a constant power supply. Power is key to the development of the economy. Take, for example, the entrepreneurs development, the small and medium scale businesses like the barbing salon, the hairdressing salon, the shoe cobbler, and all of that. They need energy. They need constant electricity supply. I like to put it constant electricity supply, so that an average man that is listening to us will really understand what we are talking about. There is no light in his environment. His businesses is suffering as a result of no light. So, and, because of this fuel subsidy and all of that, a lot of businesses are suffering because, for example, I'm a fish farmer and I hash. And energy, power, electricity supply is very key to my business.
If not, you'll be running at loss.
If not, I'll be running at loss. If I'm not even running at loss already. So I know a lot of fish farmers and breeders that are already out of business as a result of there is no power. The fuel, the fuel prices have jacked up. You understand? In a week, instead of using like 10 liters of fuel or 20 liters, you are talking about almost 40 liters of fuel. You understand? This thing. So it's quite affecting business. So I think the government of President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu really need to look into the energy sector and identify the problem. There is need to declare that sector an emergency. You understand? State of emergency in that sector, because that sector is key to the development of our economy. Go to places today, a lot of customers are the one providing transformer for themselves. Meanwhile, this sector has been privatized. What are the private investors that bought off this sector, are doing? What are they doing in terms of, transmission, in terms of generation and distribution? You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's really sad. It's really sad that Nigeria today, we have found ourselves in this situation. And like I said, infrastructure is very key. In recent time, you know, almost, I think this year we have had total blackout across the nation, almost twice or thereabout. Why? Because there is no infrastructure on ground to support, you know, energy infrastructure on ground to support constant electricity supply. So there is need for, you know, the president to look into that sector, declare a state of emergency there, and probably bring a square peg, you know, and fix into a square hole in terms of who is the minister of energy. We are not even hearing him. As I speak with you, it's as if he's doing nothing. He's just there, you know, collecting the extra code and all of that. Nigerians are suffering in darkness. This is unacceptable. If there is going to be reshufflement of this cabinet, I think his name should come number one.
Indeed, this is the reason why we love you to be part of the conversation. We are discussing epileptic power supply, and we are using Abuja as a case study because this is where we're transmitting from, and the program is coming to you on Armed Forces Radio 107.7 FM, Abuja. We'd love to hear from you. The submissions of my guest, Comrade Dominic Alancha, is that the federal government or President Bola Tinubu should declare a state of emergency. That's to show the level of seriousness on this very important and critical aspect of our economy, the sector which has an effect, either a positive effect or a negative effect on other sectors. Let us know how you feel or what is the power supply in your area and what do you think can be done to improve on it. What are the challenges are you facing? Are you on a prepaid meter? Are you still involving in estimated billing? The charges coming to you, does it correlate with how much you enjoy this supply? Call us on 090-9752-9699. The studio number is 090-9752-9699. So it's officially open. Express yourself and be constructive in your criticisms. If you are experiencing poor power supply, let us know so that probably the persons or the people in government, policymakers, will know that Nigerians are not happy. This is a sector definitely that would go a long way to improve the standard of living if we want to be sincere to ourselves. Our leaders need to be held accountable. Hello, good morning and welcome. Yes, welcome to the program. It's HallowMace on radio.
Yeah, my name is Samuel.
Samuel from Kurudu.
Yes.
All right, Samuel from Kurudu. Go ahead.
In my own area, and the worst part of it is that they are giving us estimated billing.
Okay.
Last week, that we want them to want to buy me that there is not. Yeah. We don't have meter billing again because we have a meter in our number. We have a meter that somebody, one person is using. So we sit on for the money and they want to clear all our bills, like something thousand. We went there with cash.
Yeah.
To close down our accounts. Now we don't want the meter billing again. We close the account.
Okay. And what was the response?
Yeah. They don't close the accounts. Now we must be using it.
Okay.
The money they cash, like something thousand, inside the bill.
Okay.
Do everything, then close the account.
Okay. You made effort to see. Okay.
So the fraud and everything inside it's too much. Government should do something about it.
All right. All right. Your point is well noted, and hopefully the
2,000 for us.
Okay.
Every month.
Okay. 22,000. That's the bill they bring for you every month. Thank you very much, Samuel from Kurudu. I think the story, the ordeals of Samuel definitely is one that resonates across most citizens of Abuja, those who are not yet on the prepaid metering service, because he complained about them trying to secure a meter and the effort was frustrated by the distribution company, telling them that they need to clear the backlog of the billion that is coming to them. And probably this backlog of estimated billing was as a result of poor power supply. That is why they have not been able to clear that. But we're still expecting more calls and reactions from poor power supply. The phone number is 090-9752-9699.
But Daniel, I really want to correct. Okay, sorry that I called it short.
Yeah, you want to say? Go ahead. I
want to correct a notion. I want to correct what Dr. Alancha said as regarding the Minister of Power. You know, for me, I don't really think the minister has much. I think he has more. I don't think he has much to do as far as that power sector is concerned, because we heard over time that that sector has been privatized.
Okay.
Right? It has been given out to private individuals to run. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I feel government has done its own, has tried its best to make sure that this power gets to the consumers. Do you understand me? I think where the problem lies, okay, just listen to what the caller just said now. I think where the problem lies is in the distribution. I don't think it's in the, I think it's in the distribution. I don't think it has to do with, that's what they call it. I think they have 3 stages or how many stages within that sector. They have, is this supply, then distribution.
Generation,
distribution and supply.
I don't think it's in the generation. I think it's in the distribution. I think there's something wrong somewhere. Yes, there's something actually wrong somewhere. Is it that our equipment
Anderson, what you need to know is whether generation distribution is the Minister of Power, and why is he there? If that office is not, if it's not necessary, then why creating the office? But that is not what we are looking at today. We are talking about, you know, how they can improve on this.
Yes.
Now, improving on this thing is why we are talking about the infrastructure. Even if it's for him to monitor, you see, when we go into this thing, even the Senate Committee on Energy or Power, they have to play their own role in terms of oversight. Have they gone around, you know, to see some of the infrastructures on ground for, you know, all these things? Why is there, even with the humongous amount of budget that these sectors have been consuming? In 2023, I think it was around 200 and something billion. This year's budget for energy is around 300 and something billion. Where is the power? Like Buhari will always say, you know, $16 billion and all of that have gone into that sector. Where is the power? You understand? So what we are saying is that this administration has, you know, in terms of the renewed hope agenda, have beautiful, you know, policies on paper. They need to translate it on ground so that an ordinary Nigerian, okay, look at what they are talking about, that complaint. That complaint resonates everywhere. You know, estimated billing. In the Nigeria of today, we are still estimating our billing. You understand? You know, and customers cannot even have access to these meters. Why? Why can't they have access to prepaid meters? If you go, they say that you have to clear your backlog. No, this backlog can also be built into their meter. And then subsequently they are deducting it. I think that is another strategy of debt recovery.
Indeed, there is always a way forward, and we are trying to chart a way forward, bringing this conversation to you. That is why we would love to hear from you. What is the nature of power supply in your area? Are you enjoying constant power supply? Is it epileptic? What axis are you listening to us from? What do you think can be done to improve? Do you think the federal government or the power sector has met its mandate given to them with the renewed hope agenda of this administration? While we wait for your calls, I'll give you a piece of information. Power sector budget allocation increased by 44%. The phone line is still open on 090-9752-9699. You can call us and ask questions. You can call us and make contributions on the number 090-9752-9699. So going back to that story, power sector budget allocation increases by 44%. And the story says the federal government has allocated 344 billion. We're not talking about naira. We're not talking about hundreds now. We're talking about billion, 344 billion to the power sector in the 2024 budget, an increase of 43.9%, almost 50%, when compared with the 2,309 billion received last year. We have a caller. Hello, good morning. Yes, welcome to the program. Tell us your name and where we're calling from.
Thank you, sir. We have problem in Carol. Not as you are saying. We see that they got for us this month.
Yes.
Something 70,000. Where we see no light. When they come for the connection, some you say they can't disconnect their light because they are not seeing the light that they got the people. The next thing they went to the transformer and removed something from the transformer. As we are saying, those people that are staying and the people that are not staying are staying in darkness. Is it how to go about it?
Wow.
So you people to help us talk to them. The transformer is located at Taro post office. They went there and removed something from his on Tuesday. We are still in darkness. Some of us are using prepaid meter. We loaded our meter, but now we are still in darkness. Please, thank you. I'm calling from Old Caro, Abuja.
Well, thank you for your contribution, even though you made it difficult for us to get your name. Comrade, the last caller just narrated his ordeal because he said some of the consumers are on prepaid billings. So the NEPA officials or the distribution company they came to remove an element of the transformer. That is making sure that everyone, even those who are on estimated billing and those using prepaid, are suffering the same problem. This is part of what you mentioned about infrastructural deficit. And we are hoping that if there is a problem, this problem should be addressed the way it will solve the problem that will not affect other persons. Because this man now is complaining that he is on prepaid meter, but because of those who are using estimated billing and are unable to settle their backlog, the officials came and removed something from the transformer while they are still in darkness. What can be done to address these challenges that the Nigerians are facing, and what can be done to improve the services? Looking at the story which says the allocation of this sector has increased by 44%, that is almost 50%. What can be done? It's over to you, sir.
Well, these challenges, like I said, they all vibrate across, board across Nigeria, everywhere, anywhere you
Sorry,
go.
This number kept calling. Let's accommodate. Hello, good morning. Yes, welcome to the program.
Here's Engineer Frank.
Engineer Frank. Okay.
Yes, sorry from Karo.
Okay, Engineer Frank from Caro. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a complaint on this issue. The fact is that my wife has a shop in the market.
Okay.
Using a preview. And they said that there's an issue that the preview meter has a problem. So they have to now fix things. There was no solution for it. We then went back to their office, telling them, okay, what's the solution? They said, okay, they are going to put her direct and charge her for something thousand.
Okay.
Just for a month. And normally in Africa, you only use 10,000 in a month for a business in the shop, the small shop, the shop. So when you look at that, they will say that the government or it's the private sector that which has been privatized the system. But the fact is that the system is just like a private man supposed to have prepaid rate for them. If you have prepaid rate, people come inside and buy. There will be we don't have this issue of there's the people using direct, and you are giving them direct bill and coming again affecting those people using meter.
Yes.
Just like the same thing in my house.
Okay.
We use normally in a month I spend 20,000 in my prepaid.
Okay.
But along the line, the next level has that issue. They came again and tell us it's going to be 200,000 for a month for direct. I was just wondering, is it the system that in Nigeria we do? Are we really doing private, or I don't understand government? Government is still spending money into a private system, trying to see if the private system works for the people. But the same problem is still repeating itself. And I believe that there's been a saboteur in their system that's trying to stop them from getting that meter because they are making, the people are making money indirectly from that. That's just the situation. We need to cut off this direct system and provide meter for the people. That is just my opinion for the solution to Nigeria's problem, power sector.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Engineer Frank from Caro. Well, this is definitely something that we are looking forward to addressing because Engineer Frank is also of the opinion that there needs to be like an overhaul of this set of distribution companies that are hoarding meters, because it's like a deliberate effort to frustrate those who are on prepaid billing. That seems to be a loophole where this corrupt or sharp practice is coming from. Comrade, look at how much was expended, look at how much was allocated. 44% increase to this sector, power sector budget allocation for the year 2024. 44% is almost 50%. And yet, we are not getting it right. It's as if the state of emergency you're calling for is long overdue. What can be done to salvage this kind of situation? Because we cannot deceive ourselves. If we want to bring the economy, if we want the economy to come back, the power sector has to be working. So what can be done? Is it that people need to leave office for this to be achieved?
Well, thank you very much. You see, one of the callers asked a very germane question that is begging for answer. And the question is, are we investing in private sector or what? Taxpayers' money, investing it in private sector, when you have ideally privatized all these things. So there is not supposed to be any budgetary provision for a private-driven sector. Government will not come and budget money for my farm. Okay? So there is need for a total overhaul of the power sector. I wish to use this medium to call on the president to call for the books, the document that leads to the, privatization of that sector. If there is need for that agreement to be jettisoned and then that sector, totally revamped so that Nigerians will begin to enjoy the taxpayers' money. Power holding have offices across the 774 local government. If you come to a local government, they have districts, offices spread across. In a local government, you can have they can divide it into 3 or 4. They are patrolling their transformers and all of that. But as I speak to you, if any transformer have issue in any community, it is still the responsibility of those community to come up and then fix that problem. You that is on prepaid meter, your next neighbor is not on prepaid meter. If your light have issues, you also suffer the same thing that he suffers. Now, these are issues that really need to be dealt with. And like you said, sharp practices are there. Some of who have access to these transformers, it is still the power holding officials that have access to these transformers. But you see, today the transformer is having issue. They are saying community should buy this. They are saying that. And they are saying, whereas it is their responsibility to fix the transformer, because whatever light that transformer is transmitting to us, we are paying for it.
Indeed.
So what are we paying for? We are supposed to pay for services, but we are the ones servicing the service that is servicing us. Now, these are some of the issues that I think the president have good intention for that sector. If you look at his renewed hope agenda manifestos, you will see, some of the policies that is, intended. So I hope that this increment in the budgetary provision, which is jacked up to 44%, when compared to 2023 budget, will, translate to something that citizens will see it on ground. And how can they see it on ground? Is by ensuring that at least there is, if 24 hours power supply is impossible, we should be able to have 12 or 15 hours power supply. Then gradually we will get there. We are ordinaries. I think South Africa, that our population is far ahead than them. Yeah. They are generating. They are about to hit 100 and something thousand megawatts. We are here struggling with just 3,000. We are fluctuating 3,025, 3,025.
And we are the giant of Africa.
And we are the giant of Africa.
Self-acclaimed.
So power sector the energy sector is very key to the development of our economy, is very key to the growth of startup businesses. There is need for the president to do. Nigerians are not lazy. Nigerians want to do something for themselves. They are not even waiting to be handed over hampers or palliatives. They want to do something for themselves. With power, it will take a lot of unemployed youth out of the street. Go to some corners today, you see young people idling for nothing. Some of them have learned the skill of barbing. Some of them have learned the skill of shoe cobbling and other things. But the power is not there to support their businesses. So the president is doing something. I think there is need for, for the National Assembly also to wake up in terms of their oversight function.
Indeed, it's a collective effort. We can't hold one person accountable alone. And in view of what Comrade Dominic Alancha said, this sector is a key that will definitely make other sectors very, very vibrant. I also learned from some of the callers that this issue of power supply or power failure is as a result of some of this distribution company. That is to say, it seems the problem is not from generation companies. It seems it's not from, it's now looking as if it's a problem from a distribution company, not a problem of transmission or generation, but distribution seems to be the problem. This issue of meter that is being hoarded over and over again, what can be done, Mr. Anderson? What can be done for these meters to get to people? Because people want to pay for the services, yet their effort is not given attention. Sometimes two of the callers were of the same opinion of what they went through, the hurdles they went through, and yet they couldn't achieve it. Because when you are on prepaid meter, you consume what you use. So there is no way you can be held accountable for evading tax or whatever the case may be. And this has been a challenge for some persons who are not on prepaid meter, because the estimated billing sometimes is not steady. It is either you wake up one morning and you get 10,000 at the end of the month. The next month you're getting 15, 20. It's not steady. It depends on how the power comes. And this time around, the power it's not there, but yet the bills keep coming. What can be done so that Nigerians would enjoy the benefits of this sector and businesses will begin to move?
Yes, that's the particular area where the Minister of Power, needs to wake up, right? Needs to wake up in the sense that he needs to invite all the operators of disco to a round table, because this issue of metering has been on and on ever since the time of even Fashola and co. Fashola tried all his best as Minister of Power to make sure that every household got metered. But unfortunately, I think it has to do with the level of corruption that is going on within that those operators. Because I do not see the reason why federal government has released money to get these meters and all that and distribute them. And up to now, people are still complaining that they've not gotten the meter. And even with their money, most of them have money to pay for these meters. So what could be the problem? So
meanwhile, they even said that these meters are free.
Yes, but I paid for my own.
You don't get it free. You pay for it. Step down to Caro office here and then apply for meter. They'll give you, a bill that you need to pay. It used to be 65,000 naira. Now it's almost 80-something thousand naira.
For 8,000.
You get what I'm saying? So Nigerians are supposed to enjoy some of, and recently I think there is a statement from the government that no Nigerian should pay for meter. But believe me, Nigerians are paying for their meters, which is supposed to be free. The government need to beam their searchlight on that sharp practice that is going on in the sector. Again, you see, like I said, the infrastructure, power infrastructure is very key, because you cannot distribute efficiently if you have not generated. What you generate is what you distribute. So when we have epileptic power supply, it's because our generation is very poor. There is nothing to distribute. So they need to look into those infrastructures and see how we can improve on generation. Mambila Plateau is there. What is happening to Mambila power generation, this thing that is there? Why is it not functioning? $16 billion during Obasanjo was sunk in, and subsequently resources have been going into that sector. We have another this thing, I think in Niger here. Zungeru Dam.
At the tail end of the previous administration, President Muhammad Buhari, we heard that Zungeru will come on stream. Where are we with Zungeru now?
Exactly.
This is an alternative to increase the megawatts of generation and distribution. Well, talking about sabotaging the efforts of the federal government towards reviving the power sector. Recently, not too long ago, the federal government threatened to revoke the licenses of power distribution companies over persistent poor power supply across the country. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, made this known. And the minister, through his official social media handle, said the chief executive of Abuja Electricity Distribution Company, that is AEDC, Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company, and managing director of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, have been summoned is the underlining word here, to a crucial meeting to explain the current challenges faced nationwide. So it's not just, we're using Abuja as a case study, and our callers have been coming from Abuja and its environs. So the purpose of that meeting, called by the Minister of Power, was to discuss worsening power supply in their respective regions and to collectively find lasting solution. So AEDC, TCN, and Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company seems to be like a regional distribution company for the country. Now, this looks like a sabotage of the efforts of the federal government, privatizing and still making interventions for this sector to be up and running. Is it that this distribution company are the ones that should be held responsible for this poor power supply? Because federal government threatened to revoke their license, and yet we are not seeing improvement.
Definitely, the distribution companies have to be held responsible for the epileptic power supply that we are experiencing today, because they are licensed to distribute. Why are they not distributing? What are the issues? You get what I'm saying? So, like I said earlier, the president should call on the books, let them open it and see what agreement are there, who is defaulting and who is not defaulting. You get what I'm saying? You know, so if the license or the agreement they had is to distribute power to Nigerians and they are not meeting up to that obligation, I think there is need for the government to revoke their licenses so that, there are, I think it's business. There are other competent, distribution companies that can be brought on board. So it's not something that we should toy with, because like I said from beginning, distribution, NEPA, as popularly known, okay, in our local places is very key to the vibrancy of our economy, to the growth of our economy, is very important. This president wants to revamp, this ruined economy. You understand? Ruined economy. I put it consciously because I know what the president is doing, and, without complementing, effort from the energy sector, believe me, the startup companies, the small and medium scale businesses, which, in terms of GDP contribute a lot, will continue to suffer, and our economy will remain where they are.
No doubt, small and medium-scale enterprise are the contributors of the country's gross domestic product. While to collaborate, the point made by Comrade Dominic Alancha, let me give you this piece of information, but the phone lines are still open. I'll also come to you, Mr. Sunday Anderson. You can still call us on 090-9752-9699. That is 090-9752-9699, and express your own view, what you think about power supply in the country. Just to corroborate what you said, He lamented, that is the Minister of Power, he lamented the insufficient electricity distribution by the discos, that is the distribution companies, despite the generation companies saying the ministry has been exerting pressure on the generating companies to enhance their performance, resulting in recent increase in generation to over 4,000 megawatts. So we can boast of over 4,000 megawatts, but the problem now is the mounting pressure on the distribution company to leverage on these 4,000 megawatts. Despite this progress of achieving 4,000 megawatts, certain distribution companies are failing, also in line with what Comrade said, are failing to adequately distribute the power supplied by TCN, while vandalism of power infrastructure exacerbates the problem in regions such as Abuja, Benin, Port Harcourt, and Ibadan. So this is just to support or to back your own submission. Ms. Anderson, it seems as if there is a sabotage from these distribution companies.
That's what I'm saying, that there is serious 100% sabotage, against the federal government's efforts. There is sabotage against the Nigerian people. And the only way this can be settled is for the federal government to step in and look at this very critically and holistically and know what to do from there. It's either to revoke their licenses or probably to make them sit up, because we cannot understand why we are having this level of epileptic power supply in Nigeria, most especially in the FCT. Do you know that it has become a norm for me to sleep without light almost every day?
Or spend so much on...
It has become a norm. So for me, I'm unprepared. But what happens to those people who are underestimated? In Caro site here, I say estimated billing per flat rate is 60,000. Whether there is light or there is no light.
Wow.
60,000 just for light. Now let me tell you, in 30 days, I'm sure that those people around Asokoro and this Karosite axis don't even get light for 10 days in a month. That makes up 30 days. So what are we talking about? People are just paying for what they're not using, and we have a federal government, and the federal government is just looking at these people, they're just defrauding people and just living how they like. It is unacceptable. So the federal government must step into this and look at it very critically. And let's move forward from there. That's my submission.
In a civilized climb, people resign when services are not met. When the ordinary citizens are not benefiting from what they ought to benefit. And here we are living in a poor epileptic power supply country, and people are living as if everything is normal. We tend to normalize every situation because we are Nigerians. We are tagged to be the most happiest persons. Well, you can be my last caller of the day. I can still accommodate one or two of your calls. You can call us on the studio number 090-9752-9699. That is 090-9752-9699. We are also looking towards wrap up this conversation. But before we go, Comrade, you have mentioned that license, we need to have scapegoat for things to work out. Okay, let's take this last call before we wrap up the show. Hello, good morning. Yes, please move away from your radio set. We can't have this conversation if you're close to your radio set. Move away from it or put it off. Okay. Thank you very much for your contribution and for being part of the show. Comrade, before we go, what exactly do you think that the legislative functions of lawmakers in oversight function to investigate this sector is okay? This should be our last caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Emi the bike man, welcome, and you are our last caller.
I want to thank and that's an greeting to everybody.
All right.
Over the prison now.
Amen.
What I want to say is that Jonathan, I think Jonathan for how many years now? Every day they hear collapse. All the way you come collapse for the I think what they have to do is they revoke that license, revoke now. Maybe they did benefit from I understand that they would have somebody bought the cheap, I don't know that. But what I was saying, maybe they revoke now. Give it another person. If you lose from there, you do the right thing again. Once you get from this something, you know, another thing, so we'll do so that we'll be having like if they revoke that license, give it another thing. Every day, if they give us, we don't have to send it out. If they give us each month, no more they are bringing to me in my house every month. You have to pay. You don't feel like any month. I don't think we'll see 24 hours like it is. It is better to arrange 24 hours that is not fair now. Let the federal government revoke it. If they are getting from it, I don't know, but let them revoke it. And let them enjoy it. It is improved now with the one now.
Thank you very much, Emi the bike man. He's also making a case for federal government to match its words with action. The threat by the Minister of Power to revoke the license of distribution company, which is also in line with your own submission, comrade. As a parting shot, do you think the oversight function of the lawmakers in this sector is not enough?
Before I go into that, I want to also add my voice again to
Emi the bike man,
that beyond the lamentation over the epileptic power supply, the government have the hammer to hit. Let them hit these people by revoking their license and bring in competent people with a clear-cut agreement, on, how the distribution, what, percentage of distribution Nigeria will be having going forward as it progresses. Now, having said that, you see, I've always told people that the problem of this country, the solution lies in the National Assembly. Believe me, if the National Assembly, various, Senate committee, House of Reps committees will begin to carry out their oversight functions effectively, believe me, some of these challenges we are having, they are going to nip it on board because they have, what it takes to stop that. That is why they are there. They, their responsibility is to make laws. Beyond making laws, they also appropriate. If they appropriate, it is the onus lies on them to ensure that whatever they appropriate to whatever sector, like this 300 and something billion that has been appropriated to the budgetary, for power, is done by the National Assembly. So going forward, 2024, what are those budgetary? How are they spending it? How are they expending it? It is the responsibility of the National Assembly to ensure that they carry out their oversight functions. So for me, their oversight functions has not been very effective, and that is why we are having these issues. If they are there to truly represent Nigerians, they need to step out on their and be effective on their, oversight function.
The oversight function for me is just about going to collect a brand envelope and all that. So I've already seen the oversight function that National Assembly is doing.
Well, that's the size of the package. Armed Forces Radio 107.7 FM Abuja. The program you have been listening to is HallowMace on radio. If you have enjoyed the program, we also have had a good time interacting with you. Thank you, Samuel from Kurudu, Engineer Frank from Karo, Yakubu from Maraba, and Emi the bike man, who also lent his voice to this topic of discussion. Please, as we go about accusing the government, if you're also not doing the right thing, you have a meter and you're trying to patronize bypass, trying to enjoy power supply for free, you are not helping the system. Let's do what is right even when no one is watching. The program HallowMace will come your way on Armed Forces Radio next week, Thursday, from the hour of 10 up until 11. Thank you. God bless your heart. My name is Daniel Odi.